What's up, Internet? My name is Tashi, and welcome to our podcast called Colorized.
And I'm M from last week.
Alright. Anyways, I'm Diz.
I hate
That was worse. That had to
everything.
have been worse. That had to have been worse than me. Come on. No way. No way. That wasn't okay.
That was worse.
I'm just thinking that. Okay, thank you. Thank
It
you.
was
I got some
worse.
validation there.
It
I
was
got-
worse. Don't worry,
It's
it
like
was worse.
I could hear the shaky handwriting. Does that make sense?
I got nervous also.
I
And
told
Audra
you.
was clinking chopsticks in her bowl next to me.
I'm watching the podcast.
It's because you know what happened last time?
happening?
Is that last time it was really late and we were really tired and more like lax. And this time it's like, oh, this is like the big episode, you know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I do see what you're saying. I believe you, but at the same time, I really don't believe you.
all right. Well, why would I? Because I even asked. I was like, well, what are we like talking about? Or are we just talking? And then you were like, we could just talk. And then you said a random theme. And I was like, whatever. It was like so vague that we just like went off of that one thing.
Oh wait.
I want to be famous on the pod, and now's my chance.
So that's getting cut.
she's gone now. I'm ready for realsies.
Oh, we're doing
My
it
guy, we're
now.
recording.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like, I think we're just
Well, I thought we all agreed that my intro was awful.
Oh,
that's
it
why
was.
we should keep it.
No, exactly. No, it was
Let's
awful.
talk about Halloween.
Overrated.
I like Halloween.
I
Overrated.
also really love a good Halloween.
Overrated.
I think the thing is about Halloween is like even when it is overrated, it's not like there's no pressure to have like a good Halloween. Like if you just stay in and even just watch a movie or something, it doesn't even have to be spooky. Like just the weather alone and the setting of things being dark
I will
early
say
is
I do
already
love the
fine.
weather. I love the weather around this time of year.
You definitely sound like it.
Oh,
Oh,
do I?
You sound so like I love the weather. Oh my
I
God.
do. Like I love colder
believe
weather.
you.
It's
I believe you.
I enjoy like the time up to Halloween, and then usually when it's like the week of, I get sad because it's like over, basically.
Yeah, that's what I've been
And then I
thinking.
also never really do anything on actual Halloween.
No, but I just like it. It's my favorite holiday. Because the thing is like Christmas and Thanksgiving, if you don't do anything leading up, then those are very like obvious, like where you're lonely or you have no family type of thing. Which is really fucked up. But it's true. It is true because the theme of those holidays.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong though.
But like
If you're-
Halloween, like if you
you're
don't do
alone on
anything,
those
it's like
holidays.
whatever. And if you're alone on Halloween, that just adds to the spookiness. Like there's no consequence.
I think I'm gonna be alone on Halloween this year.
I'm probably gonna be.
I don't think I'm
Halloween.
doing anything either.
Last year, I actually went to a house party, which for the first time ever. But it was in a super nice apartment in
Super nice apartment.
the meat district, I think, the meat packaging district. Pretty
Arby's.
sure.
She went
I'm
to
mad that
Arby's.
I was gonna say I'm mad that she acting like we know where that is.
All right, well, for my fellow New Yorkers who are listening in, they'll know what I'm talking about.
Ain't nobody
Arby's.
listening.
I feel like I should just say cut, and then every time there's
No.
a cut, it's me saying cut.
No.
No.
I like how
That's
you
not
both
getting cut.
collectively were like, no. Oh, all right.
Why would we
Okay,
cut it?
if you had an ideal Halloween costume for this year, what would it be?
Squidward, final answer.
What?
Squidward, final answer.
Oh, wow.
That's surprisingly normal. Not what I was thinking at all.
Yeah, not what I thought you were gonna say at all, but I also
Just out
don't
of
know what I
curiosity,
thought
I was
you
about to say,
would have
what
said.
did you think? Well, I would also have to put Sandy in a worm costume
Yeah!
or
No, no,
snail
it's not even-
costume.
Alaskan bullworm.
Yo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
It's
would
not,
be
it's
amazing.
not even. That would be amazing. Girly.
Meanwhile, she's just over there still sleeping.
Oh, she's cute. I like
She
her.
is asleep.
Sorry. I'm a little sad I didn't get to meet her, but it's okay.
It's okay.
It is what it
We'll
is.
Next time.
Next time.
I know. I'll
Uh,
let it come over. Okay.
all right, what's your ideal Halloween costume, y'all?
My first thought was not very age appropriate, I suppose.
Oh boy.
What?
Just off the top of my head, like just because I was like, I don't know what to say, and then my brain
What
was like,
were you gonna
oh,
say?
no, that's fine.
I can censor it out if it's bad.
No,
Worm alert.
you won't be able to censor it from my mind, so that's
Well,
cool.
My guy, what?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
want
I'm
to
thinking.
censor
I'm
it from your
thinking.
mind.
Shut up. I'm thinking.
okay.
Anywho, Dizzy.
I don't know.
Last year I was supposed to go to a Halloween party at Aja's place, and I was gonna be the Black Powerpuff Girl, and then they canceled.
Oh,
Oh, you told me about that. I remember
Yeah,
that.
and Tosh,
I remember that.
we went to the friggin' Halloween store
Yeah,
together,
that's why I
and
got
I
my
got
SpongeBob hat.
yeah.
You have a SpongeBob hat? That's neat.
I didn't show you the SpongeBob hat.
No.
Oh,
Yes,
you
It's a
put it on
Krusty Krab
Snap.
hat.
is that
That's
when
why.
you?
Oh, I put it on
Both
Snapchat.
of you. Oh,
That
You
makes
is that when
sense.
you guys showed me the Keyblade and I was like, I need it?
yes, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
How did that not come up? You guys literally FaceTimed me.
Oh, I don't know.
it was it might have been after.
Wow.
Yeah, I think actually we were like on our way out of the store and he saw it and he was like, "Oh my gosh." And I was
Yeah,
Really
like,
fucked
"Okay."
up.
but
That's a
anywho,
part of his Squidward costume.
it is. It has to be.
That's nice.
It's
All
literally a
right, so
Krusty Krab hat.
what would yours be though?
Um. Okay. Well. Ugh. You know what? You know the
No.
hmm. You know the soldier costumes from Final Fantasy? I would wear that. That's cool. I would look so good in them pants.
I don't know what
I
they look
have
like.
no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Every time I draw Zach Fair, he's in that outfit.
Put a picture in the chat.
Okay, fine. Cloud Strife, his little fit. But
I hate you.
his little, I mean, it's the same outfit. I'm Googling it right now.
She's Googling it.
I mean, I probably do have a render somewhere, but like you guys don't need to see my whole reference list. I'm just not gonna subject you to that.
Why not?
It's scary. I think I have a splinter.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
what have you been doing, dog?
That's a
Ooh.
great question. I'm confused.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know what to
we
tell you.
can't all be winners, I guess.
How do I do this?
Trust me, I
Oh,
am
that's
not
nice.
a winner.
There you go. Hey.
Oh, okay, you would wear that.
The way it
Okay.
popped up was so scary.
Wait, can I do Zach's like that too? That's amazing. I love that it's a render. That renders pop up like that. That's
That
amazing.
is
Good
so
job, Discord.
scary.
Good job, Discord.
Okay, that's what you would wear.
Yeah, I think I look great in those
Alright,
pants.
that's
Like I
fine.
know it.
Oh, you would look great.
In those pants, of
Probably.
course.
Probably.
Thank you.
I feel like
Thank
you
you.
definitely could make that outfit.
No, definitely. You just need a turtleneck, cut off the sleeves, and then find some baggy cargo pants, pretty much, and wear some
some boots.
docks. They do have docks that look like this. I've been having
Oh.
my eye on them.
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, duh.
I'm glad we're all insufferable.
What would you do with the hair?
Oh no. I'll just be like my own version of a soldier, so it doesn't
That's
matter.
what I figured.
Yeah, that's fine. I
That's what
couldn't
I
do that.
figured you would do.
There's only so much gel you can apply to hair.
That's why I was like, I know you're not that extra of a person.
No. At that point, it's cosplay. It's not even a costume.
Okay. Alright.
All right.
Oh,
Resisting the urge.
No.
to do.
I was gonna say to quote Megan the Stallion.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, he's so small. He's so little.
There's no like little 3 dots or any friggin' thing that shows up that someone's typing in the chat. It literally just appears.
That's how I can tell that you've never been in like a Skype chat, which is hilarious.
I was an Uvu kid. Not a Skype
I've
person.
never been to Ubu Driver.
I have. It's crazy.
No,
Oh my goodness.
I was on Skype pretty much all of high school, which was atrocious.
You know, my Aja was, but I never really did that.
I was on Skype
Well,
for I was on Skype from like middle school to like sophomore year.
I was like 14, 15, 14 until like I'll be nice. I'll say 17. And then I kind of petered out from there, but I still had it for a while because I was in this huge group chat. I don't even know how many there was of us, and then we had subgroup chats based off this like fandom that we all liked. It was the most obnoxious thing ever, but I met a lot of cool
They
Bing
people.
always ask
bong.
me, shut up!
Sorry, I feel like everyone's just like so tired sounding and slow. I was just trying to.
Is it tired sounding and slow, or is it controlled and have some decorum?
I don't
Thank
know.
you.
Okay, sorry.
So me and Touch are literally the same person.
Anywho,
It's the same word, different font.
no, literally though.
Okay, go on.
I'm
One thing
sorry.
that people always like ask me is like they ask me about movies and they're like, "Oh, it's that movie with whatever famous person." And I feel like I'm weird because I don't pay attention to famous people's names at all.
I don't
And
either.
I don't either, unless
oh my
it's
gosh,
like
I'm not the only one.
musicians, kind of, but
Yeah.
even then, not really.
No, but literally, like I
If
don't
it's someone
have
from my childhood, no. I might
like
recognize a name, but I probably don't know a face, or
no,
and vice versa.
literally.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I usually like I can only remember the sound of names, and I'm like, oh, that does sound important. Like he would be in a lot of movies.
I hate when
Like,
people are like, "That's so and so's son," and I'm like, "That makes it even worse."
and I'm like, who is
Right.
that? I don't know who that is.
I'm
Like,
like, my brother in
bruh.
Christ.
No, literally, my brother, my
You know how many
sister.
times I'll talk to a friend and they're like, "Oh, that's so and so. We went to high school with them," and I'm like, "Who?" And they'll be like, "Bro, you literally like we're basically friends with them," and I'm like, "Girl."
Any?
At this point,
She
this
does
is
it again.
just, of course, just like he's like the sunshine. Keep things
No, but like
interesting.
I don't get how people pay attention to so many different famous people's names.
I don't
It's
get
like
that either.
reality TV, I think. I think it's mostly like, but the thing is, the people that do that, they don't have any like other extracurriculars or whatever. So it's not like they're watching a show and something and remembering all that. So it's like you might as well pay attention to real people.
Nah, but you know what I really don't get? Like people who watch like people who watch like couples content on YouTube. It's like, what are you
That
doing?
is a specific type of like psychological
Mental.
warfare.
Like, what is that?
No,
It's
yeah, that's weird.
it's something else. It really is.
No, but like, I don't get it. Especially like, because I know a few people who do watch such content.
Yeah.
Especially when they're in like beef with each other or they break up or something. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why do
They
you
take it so
care?
personally as if it's like good friends.
No,
Right.
literally. It's like, bro, what are you? Come on,
It's like,
buddy.
oh my God, like my friends who have been dating for
Like, you
so long
gotta
broke up.
stop, bro. You gotta stop.
Yeah, I did
They
know people
don't
like
know
that
you.
too.
They
It's
don't.
not even that. Because like
You're
there is
not
that
their friend.
parasocial relationship, but I'm just like, why do you care?
Like, you're not their friend. Why do you care?
Because it'd be one thing to be like, oh, that's sad to hear. But it's like they be taking it like they be sobbing over that shit.
Right. Like, if any of the YouTubers that I watch randomly made a video and was like, hey guys, so recently broke up, having a tough time with it, blah blah blah, I'd be like, oh, that's sad. Other than that, I'd be like, all right, cool. Are you still gonna make videos? Like, what's going on here, Birdie? So like, I just don't get like the whole being in the drama. Like when it comes to YouTube couples. Like,
See,
don't get it twisted. In real life, I completely get being all up in the drama.
I feel like I get that even less.
Well, no, in real life, it's funny to just watch stuff play out. For me personally, at least, it is extremely funny.
See, for me, it used to be funny, but now it's like so tedious. Where I'm like, is it that serious? Like, do you genuinely feel that much emotion?
Well, see,
Even though
the
I'm
best
just
part
like,
is you don't even actually have to try most of the time, especially when you work
it's just
in
so
the
I
situation that
hate
I
hearing
work in.
anything about. No, I think we're different. I just think we're
Dizzy, how do
different.
you
But
feel
anyway.
about how do you feel about drama?
How do I feel about drama?
hmm Like sitting back and watching the drama happen.
Oh, well, that's different. That's like a rom com.
Yeah.
She
I
said it's
mean,
a
I think
rom-com.
there's different levels to it. Like, it's one thing if you seek it out, like for
Mm,
funsies,
mm.
but it's another thing when it's like actually happening to you or people around you. It's like, hey, you know?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Even when it happens to people around me, I'd be like, "That's none of my business."
See, that's how I usually try and like move around things, but most of the people that I am in relations with usually come to me to like talk about their drama stuff, and I'm like, okay, well,
I
I'm
understand.
absorbing it.
No, people come to me for advice, and I genuinely don't mind because everything I say is right and true.
Right.
Except I hate when people
Okay.
come. Shut up! I hate when people come and with the exact same problem. It's just instead of
Over.
A and B, it's C and D, and I'm like,
Uh,
I'm not gonna say anything different at all.
uh, that's what Dizzy continuously did during the school year.
Uh, no fun.
She came to
Yeah.
me with problems A and B, and then like a week later it'd be C and D, and then a week later it'd be E and F, and
Yeah, and I did that all the way to frickin' Y and Z, girls.
So what that tells us, dear
And
listeners, is
backwards.
that
and
no
backwards.
girl.
Had to include numbers with it too.
I was
Oh,
having a
this me.
rough time.
No, I
I
can
just
that
couldn't figure it out,
No, not at all.
obviously.
evidently.
And
There were some days it was
I
back to back.
apologize on behalf of my past self, but to be fair, when I was in the moment, it it was fully all just like,
I mean,
what?
it's not
Well,
like
no,
I
no. I mean,
had no
hindsight.
context.
Yeah, hindsight is 2020, and then also like when you're able to look outside of a situation that doesn't genuinely affect you, it's obviously easier to have to be clear headed about that instead of just being swallowed by it. But
Of course.
Right, and that's growth, guys. I've figured it out. So
Nice.
it only took me 9 months, but I figured it out.
Don't worry about that. It's
yeah,
okay.
and you know what? That's something. This is
It
really
is something.
cheap. This is very cheap.
At some point, I'm gonna figure it out too.
I believe in you.
And then so am I. I don't, I'm just throwing
Yeah.
myself in there. I want to feel included.
You will too. We all will.
I hope so.
We got this.
I hope
This
so.
turns into a cry for help.
No, literally.
If anybody knows any therapists on call that are looking for pro
No,
bono,
no, but for real.
they can join the podcast.
No,
Hmm.
but like, literally. And this can just be like therapy.
Oh, I have a question. Speaking of therapy, how do you feel about online therapy stuff?
No,
Absolutely not.
though I do feel like it should be there just because like it's more accessible to other people. Like you know what I mean.
hmm
Yeah.
Uh, Especially anybody who works like a 9 to 5. It's like that's pretty much all the time clinics are open, if not less than that. So you know what I mean? But at the
Hmm.
same time, I'm just like, are we talking about Zoom or are we talking about the little texty ticks?
No, that like better help stuff.
Oh, BetterHelp has already been proven to be really
I'm not
sorry for anybody that
surprised.
uses it.
I'm not surprised,
So
honestly.
If
I
you
would
look it up,
say
like there's a bunch of stuff.
I would say as a concept, yes. We're good job um in that aspect. As you know, an actual process and as like a real
Execution.
implementation,
Yeah.
uh it's just not good.
No, yeah, I agree. I think it's I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that there's probably some people, like you both said, that would really benefit from it, but I mostly think that it creates like too close almost of a relationship between the two because it's like you have the ability to literally speak to them at any time. And
Well,
I
in
feel
that
like
sense,
some
also, I think it would still be like scheduled, but also like, you know,
well, so
you
I say that because I tried it like last year now, I think.
I thought about trying it, but then I was like, I don't like that.
It's not great.
I also
And
tried
like
it last year,
most
and
of
it
them,
is
they
not
do
great.
have like set hours that they, are quote unquote working, but also you literally can just like message them at any time, and
Yep,
if they're near their phone, they may or may not answer,
yep.
depending on if they want to. So I think that's a little
It's
that's
Yeah,
I.
I've heard about that too, and how
It's
that
not
is.
very. It's not a good implementation. I'm not
There
gonna
should
lie.
still be hours. The hours should just extend, or at least like it's not like, oh, I'm messaging you whenever I'm in the middle of a crisis, because at that point, you are supposed to call helplines. Like that is how
right.
it's supposed to be. But it's just like, hey, my hours are this. I'm not able to leave my home for whatever reason. So can I have basically like night shift hours of therapy?
Mm-hmm.
And even then, that should be allotted, like an hour of this, because also it's very draining to like my side of the field. Like you expect us to be on you 24/7, and that's very
Right.
That's
dehumanizing. Like
annoying.
these
I
are
would imagine
people.
that's annoying.
Well, then it also
'Cause then we feel bad too, because it's like, well, I might be enjoying my life having a day off because obviously our job is very like burnt out high.
Taxing.
And then go back on my phone when it finally is like whatever my work hours are to me. And it's like I miss all these messages because someone decided like went into a crisis and I wasn't available.
that's the other thing that I'm like, I feel like it creates like a dangerous like codependency on the side of the like user, not the professional. Because
Yeah.
then it's like you think that for literally any issue that you're going through, you can just like send a message to your therapist. And like, how are you gonna, like live your life without that
Exactly.
shadow?
And then also it's like it's very instantaneous. It's like, oh, I'm in the middle of something and I'm upset and I want validation right away. So
Bada bing,
everything's in
bada
the
boom.
heat of the moment.
Yeah.
Versus like, for example, when I went to therapy, it was every 2 weeks. So like even if something crazy happened on literally I swear to God, it happened every time the very next day. So then
Yo,
I'd be
I
like, are you for
understand.
real? But I had 2 weeks to think about it, form my own opinions, and then when I finally was able to discuss it, like I was like, okay, this is how I felt when it first happened, and then later on, and then it also gives you more time to get like, oh, okay, so like 2 days later, they ended up this, so that somehow got resolved, but then now this is a new issue, and it's like you give time for the problem to become a part of your life
Yeah. You give
and
it
actually
you
develop
give it
critical
time.
thinking skills, you
Yeah, I
know?
was about to say you give it time to develop the situation time to develop, and actually see how it plays out instead of just doing it in the moment and not knowing what's gonna happen out of
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I did therapy, it was once every month, so like I
I
had to wait
hated
a
that. I had that
very
too.
long time. Um, and like I like just like you said, I swear it would happen the day after all the time. Something crazy would go down, and I would
Mhm.
have like a month to just sit on it and stew and think about um like what happened and let it play out. Um, although that in itself also taught me some lessons.
I did have that. That's how my first couple were,
Mhm.
like, with a different therapist, and I absolutely despised it because a lot of mine were like, "Well, I've already made the mistake." You know?
Well, when I did it, when I did it through school, mine was every 2 weeks. I didn't like that though. I feel like it
Through
didn't.
school Yeah, through school, I had mine every 2 weeks, and I preferred that, but it was also during the summer, so I had more downtime.
I think
Nah,
during COVID they changed it though, because when I did it through the school, it was every week.
But
Well,
you
Yeah.
can set it.
I was
You
gonna say, I
can
think you can
ask
set
to
it.
change.
They didn't give me an option to. They just
But
said, "Here you go."
oh, mine, I mean, it was like, oh, you can see them every 2 weeks unless you want to change it. But it was kind of like set offhandedly. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone just literally just forgot to mention that to you.
Hmm.
But
Well, I don't go there, so it's fine.
she said, "I
Oh,
don't go there."
none of us do now. So
Well, very true.
giggles.
Whoop.
Anywho, what is what is your thoughts on therapy as a whole, right? Like, what
Well,
main problems do you see with therapy nowadays, at least?
um, it's not, and I speak of this as a prior psych major. Um, every class I took with my fellow psych students, I wanted to throw myself out the window because it is so much diagnosing of friends, family, and themselves that they know, and also based on TV shows that they're watching and stuff like that. And then they would come into class, and every time we would talk about, this disorder, or literally, it would be a lesson literally saying, like, this is what happens when you improperly diagnose someone. Because the thing is, and this is what a lot of people tend to, I mean, now that mental health is becoming so big, people like see a label, and it's like mental health in the DSM-5 or 6 has never been used as a label. Just as everything else is very fluid and on a spectrum, so are disorders and any type of mental, uh, anything really. So it's like you have these things, and it's like, listen, I have a book with a list of symptoms, and you are a complex human being that has been through every little thing in your life, and also this. And just a few symptoms that you are exhibiting and able to tell me as someone who is self aware, if you even can be, you know what I mean, about that. I'm supposed to make an educated guess on all this stuff. So it's not like this strict thing. I mean, sure, there's some people where you're like, yes, you have this. And that's amazing. That's great. And if that works for you, 1000%. But I think people really just go, oh, well, my aunt, she's so anal about this. She has OCD. And I'm like, what if I climbed into your house through your window and stole all of your teeth?
Oh.
Okay.
What then? Which I would just sit in class and just say nothing. It would just drive me insane. And then in the same breath, they'd go, yeah, my crazy ex, he always said I had this, this, and this. And it's like, come on. And it's like, do you not?
Do you
Don't you feel like a
understand?
hypocrite?
Do you realize what you're doing
Mm,
and what you're saying?
yeah. So that's my biggest pet peeve ever.
See, I
And
know
that's
what you
why if they're a
mean.
psych student and they're just like, I love to watch X, Y, and Z, I'm like, die.
Oh,
Joke. Anyway.
I know what you
Tea.
mean about the mislabeling and uh,
Because you can ruin someone's life like
diagnosing.
that too. When you're in a position of power like that.
Right. Like, um, last year, I was diagnosed with a simple mental disorder, and
Join the
then
club.
and then during therapy, my therapist would listen to what I say, and she would be like, "Well, actually, you might have this disorder instead of that one, and that might be why your medicine isn't working." And I was like, "Oh, that's fun, cool." So like,
Yeah,
there's
medicine plays a big part too. Who can
Medicine
prescribe
is
medicine
so
like that?
confusing.
To be
what?
fair though, you're applying all these drugs to what is your brain chemistry, so it is kind of a hit and miss.
Yeah,
Um,
no, like I
that's
also
normal,
didn't like
but
the way the medicine made me feel. Like it made
can
me
you guys hear that?
feel like I was in a
I'm just
fog.
Yeah.
checking.
No, we cannot.
Thank God. Okay, okay.
It made me feel like I was in a fog. So like it didn't really it wasn't
Bro,
beneficial.
that is why last year, like how I said before, I went through A through Z with you on the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I think literally part of it was because of the medicine I was taking. Like, it got to the point where I literally could not function
Yep.
properly, and then like that's why I was just stuck on repeat. I was like trying to crawl out of this hole. I didn't understand for the longest time, like I didn't even realize it could have been the medicine. And then I started talking to my doctor about it, and she was like, "Okay, so you should probably stop." And I was like,
Yup.
"Oh, okay."
That's why every time prior therapists I've had have been like, "Oh, well, would you consider medication?" I immediately say no. And like, this isn't to discourage medication because now I'm like, I need something to make it stop. Yeah, I will say.
See,
And then, but finally, it's like I feel like you have to build up a repertoire with that therapist for at least a few months before
yep,
you take anything that they're prescribing. Because I'm like,
yeah,
number one, I just walked in here.
right. I understand that fully. Because I
Mm.
feel like that's what went wrong with my therapy situation, at least, where it was like, um, it started with that first diagnosis, and we kind of based it off of that, and then she was like, "Well, now that I'm talking to you, it sounds like this," and I'm like, "Okay, cool, that's fine."
Exactly, exactly. Like my
Um,
therapist, my favorite one did basically the same thing. They were like, "Well, I know you told me that you were diagnosed with this, but you have a lot going on here." And I was like, "Well, I didn't like them and only saw them once a month, so none of that ever came up." And they were like, "Yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense." And I was like, "Thank you."
Mm.
exactly, and then I tried some different medicine, and then it was not beneficial to my health at all. Um, and then eventually I just looked at my doctor. I was like, yeah, or the therapist. I was like, no, no, we're done. We're done with that. Maybe
Yeah.
let's just talk. Um, and then she was like, all right, cool, we can try that. And then eh, my issue um, with therapy, specifically the
Boobs.
like telehealth
It-
therapy, is kind of what Dizzy was talking about with the whole bad codependency on the therapist. Like I felt that extremely. I felt a severe codependency for her, and it was very strange. And I did not like it very much because I was like, why is this random woman so important to me? And I didn't like it.
it's funny you mentioned that because I once I don't it wasn't a codependency in the sense, but I like cared about the validation that my therapist would give me because I was just like, well, they're like they're gonna tell me if I'm crazy. So if they validate anything, then I'm probably right. Like I was right all along. But it's like one, they're not gonna set you off either. And, and two, it's like, well, they're there to hear you out in a
Right.
nice professional sense. So I would look forward to it so much so that I would like plan my day around it. And it was like made me seem a lot more high functioning than I was outside of those sessions. Cause he would say often, he'd be like, well, like, it's not like it's affecting your day to day. Like, you look clean, you're dressed well, da, 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 da. And I was just like, if you could see me outside of this
Girl,
building.
yeah, it's a girl. That's
Yeah.
simply just wrong.
I'm like, actually, I'm a little rat monkey.
No, for me, it was like I wanted her attention, but like not in a weird way. It was more so like in a neglected child wants his mother's attention.
Mm.
That kind of like, pay attention to me. I promise you, I can do good.
Yeah,
Mm.
I get what you mean. I actually do get what you mean.
I think my issue is am I have way too many high expectations almost. Like every time I've tried to see a therapist, I like go 2 or 3 or 4 times or whatever. And then I'm like, all right. Like, I'm bored. Nothing is happening. And I know that's not how it works, but my
Oh,
brain,
no, of
I
course.
think, is so used to like when people talk about like therapy on social media and stuff like that. It sounds so instantaneous, but
Yeah.
the
But
reality
I
is
will
like it's such
say
a long process.
how often you see them affects that, and then also if you genuinely click with your therapist, because I've seen a couple, and I like play this game, and I do it intentionally, but like now that I noticed it, I'm just like, oh, where I purposely omit as much information as possible. But if they ask me about it and they pry, I'll be honest. But I'm still like hiding all that info, so I'm like waiting for the one that's like, are you listening to me? Like, are you hearing the gaps of information, or are you just like
I
sitting there?
I know exactly what you're talking about because I do the exact same thing.
So that's why I liked my last therapist so much, because he purposely would like push me and pry and make me purposely see. He would like play devil's advocate, but not in a bad way. And then I was like, oh, you're like genuinely listening.
Hmm.
Surprisingly, that's what the school therapist was like for me. Like he
That
was
was
really
mine.
good. He
That
was
was mine.
like he was like so like I would leave out the crucial bits of information and he would be like, "So, but what about this? Like what is this information that I'm missing here? Because I know
Or
there's
even
context."
exactly, exactly. Or even then he would be like, what did he say once? And it like really like took me aback. He was like, "Okay, I'm not saying you can't do that. I mean, it's your decision. Like, I understand complete 100% why you would do that. But keep in mind, like people that have been in a similar position, a lot of times, like they can never resolve it because it just grow. And not even because they don't want to, but it's like so much time passes that this point, it's like, why are you even mad anymore? Or why don't you speak to this person anymore? So he's like, again, like do that decision. Like it's fine. Like I'm not telling you it's even the wrong one. I'm just saying like these, like that's kind of the consequence and repercussions of that. And he was like, "But I'll see you next week." And it was like had me so stunned that I was like, "Wait, what?" And I kept thinking and thinking and thinking. I was like, "Oh, I don't want that to happen." And I ended up getting off my and like going out of my way.
See, for me, like the first major breakthrough moment that I had with him was I was talking to him about like being a bad friend, right? Because I felt like I was a bad friend to all of my friends. Um, and then he was like, "Well," I said something about like me not doing anything for any of my friends, and he was like, "Well, I didn't know you needed to do stuff to be friends with somebody." And I was like,
Mm.
I'm sorry. Did you just completely body my entire argument with a simple sentence?
Round of
He
applause.
yeah. No, I'm clapping too.
So I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. All right. And then like he continued to search for context beyond that. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. This guy might know what he's talking about. All right. Hold on.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's how you know. Like it sounds funny, but like you got to sit with them for like I'll say depending on the frequency, like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 sessions. And if you haven't had like a click moment with them, or at least like one of those moments where you're like, "Oh," then you could consider seeing someone else or having a referral. And let me tell you, like therapists and anybody in the psych field are like, they're not going to feel bad about it. Cause I feel like some people will stick with them because they're like, oh, but I've been seeing them for 6 months even. And I feel
Mm.
bad to switch. Like maybe it's me and maybe I'm just not being receptive. And it's like, yeah, that's the whole point.
that's the whole point. You have to
And they're
find someone
used to
that you
it.
are
They see
receptive with.
hundreds of clients every day. And that should be freeing instead of making you feel bad. Like you're good. If you need to see somebody else, then you need to see someone else. Like that's it. It's like a doctor.
I feel like I need to get back into therapy.
Oh, I would love to. I just
Should.
kind of poor.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure. That's the part that I'm trying to figure out right now.
And I also will say because my last therapist kind of set the bar pretty high, I'm like extremely picky now.
I'm not gonna lie, my last therapist did not set the bar that high, but
Didn't really either.
That's how I felt when I had him. When I first saw him, I was like, I'm gonna give this guy a hard time. Even though I'm the one that did it for myself. But I'm like, I'm just gonna go one time to like keep this promise to myself saying I was gonna go.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna like basically just goes this the calls back, so to speak. And
Okay.
then I was intrigued and I was like, okay, I'll probably go one more time just to like whatever. Because in the beginning too, like what people also forget is like they're a stranger, you're a stranger, you're not gonna be honest or like
Mhm.
really open or talking a lot, so you shouldn't
No,
base it
yeah.
off those first two for a while anyway.
I was about to say, I feel like
Um,
for the first couple of sessions, you just shouldn't have any expectations
yeah,
because
in that case, you should just be feeling out the atmosphere of the room and knowing if you're like, okay,
exactly,
I may not be in love with you, but it's like, can I at least
I can vibe with you.
right, can I at least sit in this room with you for like an hour and a half or however long the freaking sessions are without wanting to claw my face off?
Mm.
Exactly, exactly.
And the answer is yes.
I hope so.
It should be.
I mean, that's the goal at least. Um,
What a
what
guy.
one thing that Dizzy did mention that I do want to touch on is social media. Social media, like it does makes things seem like they happen very, very quickly. And I feel like that's a very big problem, especially when it comes to mental health, because people will expect things to like be a magical cure. And that's simply just not how that works.
It's that
Mhm.
instant gratification like
Exactly.
mindset that I think most people in America at least have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because literally everything is at our fingertips and we forget that things actually take time to be good, or at
Right.
least if you want them to be good.
Trust me, I experience that every day doing my job. People expect stuff to get done immediately, and you just look at them and you're like, no, that's not
Right.
how that works.
I also experienced that at my job.
Uh,
And it's even worse because I'm like, these are actually like literal children. So you could be a lot more understanding with your child. That would be amazing.
at least I don't have to work with human beings
Yeah, let me tell
under
you,
my
there's a
control.
reason why I do not want to go into therapy and want to do research.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm the most emotionally stunted individual I've truly ever met.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
That's why sometimes, like, I understand when friends come to me for advice in the sense of, like, I am a friend. You should confide in me. Thank you. I am honored. But at the same time, I'm like, when I tell you I am just spewing out horse.
I think that's
No, but
everyone
for
though. I
real.
think that's actually everyone.
No, no, no. It is everyone in the sense where it's like we're all just sacks of meat with electricity and we're just spewing out things and we're trying and we're
Whole
empathizing and there's a lot of
analogy.
things. You know
You
what I
know
mean?
what
It's not an
though?
analogy. We are sacks of meat with
But I mean, like,
electricity.
visually to think of it. A sack of
Yeah.
meat with electricity.
Right. And that's no, but that's perfect. You should think of a sack of meat with like carb what do you call the jump cables and voltages. And what do you think it's gonna say? Not much. Nothing
Let's
truly
go with
important.
forward.
And I think if people applied that to me, things would be a lot easier.
Yo,
But apparently I
shut
give good
up.
advice. I think
You know what
apparently I
though?
give good advice.
I think the reason people come to me at least for advice is because they know I'm going to be emotionally detached from that situation.
People do say that about me
They
too.
know I'm not going to care what emotional outcome it has. I'm just going to state pure facts.
This is the truth for both of you.
Ah, thank you, thank you. But I think also, I mean, at least in comparison to, I'm a level with you. And I'm gonna be like, I see what you're talking about. I do, and like I do understand how the mental illness has skewed your thoughts. Okay, so you're not entirely crazy. I do see how you got from A to W. But in case you forgot, there's a lot of letters in between there, and I'm gonna need you to break it down for me so that I can tell you where you fucked up.
See, I feel
But I'm
like
gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be like,
like
oh, you're so stupid.
I
You
feel
know,
like
so
for me at least, I look at the context. I look at all of the context that you give me slash that I am given. I'm gonna ask for more context, of course, And then I'm just gonna be like, all right, so let me tell you why you're stupid. Blah 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 blah. Let me tell you why that person is stupid. Blah 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 blah. Then let me tell you why you're both stupid because this entire situation could have been avoided slash resolved hours ago. Blah 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 blah.
I will also say one of my bad traits is that I'm always I don't wanna say devil's advocate, but in the sense where, like, if they're, like, getting irrational, then I'll 100% stick to the logical side, and I'm just like, "Okay, but do you see how it doesn't have to be that?"
No,
And then when it
literally.
is like that, it makes me seem like I was too optimistic, and I'm just like, "It doesn't have to be like that, like, you don't have to be pessimistic." I am
See,
pessimistic, but, like, in a positive way.
see, I'm just altogether very pessimistic. So like I come to you with the realest possible answer. Like, yeah, this is probably not going to end well for you. It might, but it's more than likely not. That's just simply how life goes, my good sir.
Yeah, I don't say it like that. It's the same
Yeah.
approach, but not like that. Instead, I'm like, yeah, it could definitely end bad. Of course, the whole freaking world could burn. But do you see how it could have just been a Tuesday and then you're being ridiculous?
See,
Right.
see. Yeah, we come at it from different ways. Because
Different
I'm
angles,
always
yeah.
just like, yeah, this is probably gonna go bad, but here's how it could go good, and I think you need to think about that more so than if it goes bad.
Well, it's just like, of course, that could all be right. And I purposely like build it up, and then they're like, oh my God, I was right. And then I'm like, then I pop the bubble.
See, I immediately tear it down just so I can like start to build it back up.
I don't know what the heck
Mm.
I do.
Nothing. You do nothing.
Oh, that's not
You
true.
simply talk. No, I'm kidding.
No, no,
Um,
no. You know what it is? I think Disney in general, like, it's not even like you tackle the issue. You just soothe
yeah.
and then let that person like figure it out. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely she
Because for
does.
me, I purposely aggravate and make it so that they're all tied up in knots. And then I pop it so that they look a little crazy, but then they're like, okay. And I'm like, all right, now you go deal with yourself. And then I leave. And then it sounds like Tosh is like pops it immediately and they're like, you're ridiculous. You are in the middle of having a whole entire breakdown. Relax. Look at the actual facts.
Mm.
I think Dizzy is more like, okay, drink some
It's
water.
yeah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Just it's okay.
I think
Like
it depends on who
you
I'm
settle the
talking to.
soul. You
Yeah.
settle the soul.
I think because, like, besides you two and a couple other people, like, most of my other friends are very much like, you have to say things in a very carefully crafted way in order for them to, like, have it click in their head, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm trying to, like, give advice to them, it's like I'm doing mental gymnastics because I'm literally trying to, like, put
Mm,
input all their information so that it can come out in a way that's, like, nice. But usually when it's for you 2, it's like,
you're
"Okay, I'm just
tactful.
gonna
You're
listen."
Yeah.
tactful.
Absolutely, she is tactful.
Yeah,
She
I'm not
has
at all.
a great way about making sure that like you don't ever so when you go to Dizzy for advice or like when you're having a crisis, there is you have already once you start calling her, that was your peak. You will only ever go down from there. Like you'll calm down almost as soon as she answers
Yeah, okay, okay. I
because
was
she'll
like,
be like
damn.
she'll do something stupid and then you'll be like, okay, I'm already
You
calming down.
diffuse the situation. That's what it is.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
that's your
I'm
peak
like a
right
big
there.
blanket.
Yeah. No, but yeah.
No, you're a blanket to the soul, man.
Yeah.
On a
Literally. You're
Wow.
cold
like,
night.
oh my God, you're soup.
Oh,
Yo!
yeah.
You're soup. I just feel better.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's the nicest thing you guys have said to me.
You see, this is why we make fun of you, because if you knew just how deep our regard goes, like that would be humiliating.
No, it
I
really
have to
would
humble
be.
you.
Funny.
Again, gotta build you down, or
I
just
hope you
gotta tear you
remember
down just to
this.
build you up, bro.
Right,
I
right, right.
have to remind you that, like, my love language is words of affirmation, so I
Sure.
actually
So
really enjoy hearing people say that.
No, but isn't it all of ours? Oh, it's definitely mine. Sorry.
Well, mine
I
is
can
also quality time,
I can
and
find
words of
mine.
affirmation, I think, are tied.
I can
Yeah.
find mine.
Actually, I don't remember what my middle one was, or my second one, but I'm pretty sure it was quality time as well. If not,
Physical touch.
yeah, that was a 0 on mine. That and I think gift giving only got like 2.
So quality time is my top one.
Mm,
Aw, yeah.
that makes
I
sense.
miss Tosh.
Receiving gifts is actually 0%. So like
I like giving gifts more. I
You know
don't
they have an anger one?
honey,
really.
I took
I
it.
need to cough.
Mine's are words of affirmation and quality time, but then the second time I took it, I got acts of service, but they were tied. Acts of service and quality time are tied.
somehow, some way physical touch is directly in the middle. I don't get it.
Physical touch, no, that's definitely a 0 for me. But I have that thing where I feel it. I don't like to be touched. You
Acts
know
of
that.
service is actually at 27%. So that's my second highest.
Oh, I only see numbers. I don't see percentages on
I
my
don't
email.
have my thing in front of me.
Well,
Oh, I
that's my
saved it.
second one.
No,
I
11
also
for
saved it.
words of affirmation, 8 for quality time, 8 for acts of service. I told you they were tied. 0 for physical touch, and I got a 2 for receiving gifts. Yeah, where it's like, because if someone gives me something and it's so niche to what I like obviously I get excited. But if someone just gives me something, for the most part, I'm like, oh,
I don't know. I
okay.
don't really like getting gifts. Like, I don't know what to do. I'd be like, thank you. And then I'm like, should I do something else? I don't know what to do.
Right,
Help
right, right,
me.
right. But it's also like when Dizzy was like, oh, I saw this Kirby with an M on it and reminded me of you. I was like, what if I died for you? You
Oh,
know? Or like
Um,
when Ash texted me and was like, look, it's Snoopy on this bag. Do you want it? I was like, what if I married you? Like, what if you're married? Because it's like you saw something you thought of me, and then you also thought that I would enjoy having it. Like that.
yeah,
that's
The
fair.
the follow-up of that is like that's what means a lot to me, not necessarily the item.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say that I think gift giving is maybe my third question mark, but I
That would
think
make
it's
sense.
more of like I don't even care about like what you give me. I just the thought of like someone like you said like looking at something and thinking of me and then giving it to me is like, "Oh."
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
could be a rock. It could literally be a rock.
If someone gave me a rock, I would weep. I'd be like, "You saw it right, and you do
That's
what
what I'm
it."
saying. That's
To
what
be
I'm
fair,
saying.
if it's something special, right, or if it's something like someone looked at it and was like, "Oh, I saw this and thought of you," I would also appreciate that gift, right? I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." It would just be
Yeah, and that's
I
normal.
wouldn't know how to respond in like an appropriate manner.
That's why I purposely don't respond in an
Keep
appropriate
going.
manner.
I just simply go like, "Oh, thank you, thank
I
you."
hate that we're literally the exact same person. This is awful. Because I'm just like, ooh, a trinket for my other trinkets. And it's like, okay.
Like
Ooh.
when Dizzy got me socks, right? I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you."
The thing is, like, Dizzy gets good gifts.
Thank you.
And you can tell they're
You're
not
not,
gifts
you
that,
guys
like,
weren't even this nice on my birthday.
that's because it was your birthday.
Literally.
Sorry, I saw something absolutely
I was gonna
amazing.
say though, I think that Tosh is wow, I am stutter
You
city right
okay?
now.
I gave it to you. I gave it to you because I've been doing that all morning. I was kind of
Okay.
worried that I would do it on the call.
I think that Tosh is very good when it comes to like acts of service. I think that's
Yeah,
like
we were talking about
definitely
that.
fills that need for me like a lot. Like when he drives an hour to bring me to campus, and then we get there, and I realize I forgot my keys in the other state, and then he scolds me while he drives me back home and tells me we'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah,
You know what the
he's
best part
very
is? I think I
sweet.
worked that day too.
He's so nice.
He's he's very sweet. He's a sweetheart.
I
He's
do what I can.
like a grandpa or like a grandfather. Like
He's
he's gonna tell
definitely
you what you did wrong, but he's still gonna help you.
yeah, like literally lecturing you while he's fixing it.
Right.
I mean, we literally saw that earlier today with you trying to set up your mic.
Oh my god,
Oh
yeah. Oh my
my
god, no,
God.
because my mic was giving me the worst time, and Discord makes me feel like a boomer. Like, not gonna lie. And
As it should.
Tosh is literally yelling at me while, like, literally, like, customer service voice doing it. And then every time I do it wrong, he's like, idiot. No, it's actually up here. Is it working? And I'm like,
You
no. And
imbecile.
he's like, God damn it. Okay, so we're gonna do this. And I'm like, oh my god, thank you. So he's a king. Anyway.
I feel like fills a niche for me that I don't quite understand.
No, definitely. It goes both
Like,
ways.
I
I think
don't quite get it, but like you fill some strange niche for me.
M
It's like
is
kindred
very much
spirits.
quality time.
What'd you
Cause
say?
like I said M is very much quality time. Cause
Yeah.
she's like we sit I think we probably broke the world record for longest FaceTime and just didn't document it because
Oh my
like
god, for real.
sophomore year I don't think we ever were off the phone unless I was in class.
And you know what's so freaking funny? When people call me, I get so pissed off.
No,
But when
literally.
I would text Dizzy and be like, hey, are you free? And the rare time she was like, no, I'd be like, oh, so we're breaking up. Like, if you hate me, just say that. Like,
No, I get it. I get it. I get it. Because I felt the
Mm.
same way about Dizzy. I was just like,
yeah.
oh, so you're gonna ignore me now. I know I ignore you all the time, but this is what we do now?
That is
Right. Like
true.
if you want me to jump, like fine.
Like,
You
no,
crab.
for real.
You crab man.
Like if you want me to go crash my car, I'll do it
No,
right
you know,
now.
Tashi is annoying.
For real.
And when I literally will text him and months will go by and that boy just will not answer. And I'm
That is
like,
true.
okay, so he died.
And the thing is, the months is not an exaggeration. I just
No,
want to
It's
say it is
actually,
not
not.
and then
genuinely an exaggeration.
It's
months
not.
later at like 2 in the afternoon, he'll answer my question, my original question that has long since passed its deadline, and be like so casual about it. And I'm like, bro, it's been a year.
That is so for real. And the thing is like, even though me and Tosh are like pretty close, there's just like no communication.
It literally
No,
blows my
but
mind.
for real though, like literally, I don't know how. Like me and M literally just share brain cells at this point. Like, and I don't
We
understand
do
how.
not speak. Like we don't
Like we
speak. But
don't
when
speak
we
at
see
We
all.
each other,
also
we don't
Oh,
have to speak though.
we really
no,
don't.
but
We
I'm
just get
saying
each other.
because you both will be like, I miss M, I miss Taj, and I'm like, bro, you know their address and their phone number and XYZ. Like, just
My
fucking talk to
favorite
them.
my favorite thing is when you purposely do a group FaceTime and I'm like, oh, okay. And then you hang up.
No, literally.
Because it's like, it's almost like freaking bringing siblings together. Like, they don't want to hang out with each other for some reason, and then when they're together, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I liked you.
Oh,
No, I
that does
promise
perfectly
you,
describe the
it
relationship, my
literally does
brother.
so. Like this is not an exaggeration at all.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Because since I visited last week, when was the last time me and Tosh even spoke?
I mean, I was like, yo, send me your address so I can send you the mic.
No, 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 yeah, but I mean like before that.
Before that, oh my guy, like
Right.
4 months ago.
And even then, that was probably in the group chat.
And I
No.
was just gonna say that was probably because I made both of you
Probably was.
talk to each other.
Oh, wait, was it Daisy's graduation?
Oh my god, I think
No.
so.
No
It
I think
way.
was.
so.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
I think
god.
so.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's kind of fucked.
Yeah. It
Bro, but
is.
it's crazy because we
But like when we
don't
saw
even
each other,
need to
it's just
talk,
like,
bro.
Tosh, you know,
No,
like,
literally, it's like, oh my gosh,
and
she's here.
we literally jump into each other's arms.
No,
Like,
literally. No, we literally do.
it's cute. I like it. I like our dynamic. I
I
like
also
friendships
like
like
our
that though, where
dynamic.
it's like I don't have to speak to you all the time to know that like the connection we have is so full of headassery that
No, literally.
because I could go 5 years without talking to Tosh and I could see him on the street tomorrow and be like, yeah.
Yo, what's good? Like, I have
Immediately
one
dabs
other
him
friend
up
like
and
that.
says an old joke.
No, literally. I have
The
one
freaking
friend like I have another
close
friend
your
like that, I should
eyes.
say.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yo.
Oh
No, if we
yeah.
didn't talk for 5 years and then I saw M on the street, I would have to be like, bro, close your eyes.
And I'd be like, bro, they're closed.
How are you feeling about psychological thrillers versus horror movies?
Psychological thrillers are my favorite, so that's it. That's it. That's the end of the segment.
Watch scary things, but I would prefer a psychological thriller.
Because those stick with you, broski. And also
That's like
horror
the
movies
whole
are not what they
point.
used to be.
See,
Yeah,
I'll go on my soapbox. I
see,
really
see,
will.
I knew what both of your answers would be, and the reason I asked is because I want to talk about what's wrong with horror movies, right?
Oh, he want.
everything.
Oh
What?
wait, I'm just gonna stop you right there. I'm just gonna stop you right there because you
What?
said another 20 minutes. I could do another 6 episodes.
Girl, don't worry about it. We can listen.
What's wrong with horror? Episode
You over here,
660,
you
11.
over here acting like I can't cut out earlier stuff. Slash, man, don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
the whole like first 15 minutes was us just fighting about who's
15.
more oppressed.
Well, to be fair, that wasn't recorded, but anyways,
Oh.
You liar.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you said
it
it
was recorded,
was.
but not part of this recording.
Oh.
That was for a
Oh,
blooper reel. Y'all
that
stupid.
was for
Anyways,
friends. It's gonna be my
Okay.
message. Oppression. That'll be my
anyways, what's
next
wrong with
post.
horror movies?
You know what's wrong with horror movies is that you know what? Actually, hold on. I'm gonna
Nah,
tell you
take
exactly
off,
what's
please.
wrong.
Take off. Oh, she's gone.
I said, wait,
Oh,
Jesus. You can't hear me typing?
No.
no.
Okay, so horror by literal, actual, legal definition is an intense feeling of fear, shock, or disgust. Name one, and when I say modern, I mean like in the last 5 years, movie that gave you that feeling. I'm not gonna fucking wait. I'm really not, because you can't name one. Now, when I was a kid, and I can't speak for everybody else, but they didn't do that whole must be accompanied with a parent if under a certain age. No. So I was 4, 5, 6, 7 years old going to literally the blockbuster of the fucking year, scary horror movies, and being traumatized and then going home and having to deal with that trauma in pitch black darkness of the New York City apartment because we all shared. So it's like when you watch things like The Nightmare on Elm Street, when you watch things like the first Halloween,
Mhm.
even though that's kind of like, but like it gives us a feeling of like, oh, someone could just do that,
Mhm.
When you watch The Grudge, when you watch The Exorcist, which I refuse to watch, ever since the first time I watched it as a kid, I just
Mhm.
refuse to watch that. When you watch, I'll even say Scream because especially when that came out, it was pretty accurate. When you watch things like that, that are just enough to be like, oh, that's it. That's it. That's blank. You go home as a little kid, and that fuels your nightmares for years to come. Even Chucky, but like that's more like suspended disbelief because you have a possessed doll. But like those little things,
See, the
more
crazy part is, right, so when I was younger, watching movies that I rightfully had no business watching, it was at home, right? Well, slash at my grandpa's house. I spent the night basically. Like I would sleep at the same place that I watched the movie, so it would be fresh in my mind. And all the while I'm watching the movie, I'm considering, wow, uh, like as a kid, I would watch uh, Freddy vs. Jason, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, some very very scary movies for a child. And I would go to horror house or horror houses, haunted houses, whatever
haunted.
whatever they're called.
I guess both.
Um, and like as a young child, I would go through that stuff, and I would go back home super traumatized. I remember for like a good 3 months, I was terrified as a child because I was scared that like some Frankenstein's monster looking dude was just gonna round the corner because of one of the horror houses that I went through, or haunted houses that I went through. Um, and I say that to say no scary movie after after the age of like 12 has ever like made me that scared to the point where it's like, wow, this could reasonably happen, because I like around the age of 12, I just started poking plot holes through every single horror movie that came out. And I was like, bro, this makes no
Exactly.
sense. Like, this
Yeah, I have
makes
the same
no sense
issue.
at all. And I feel like that's
I
what
can
you
almost always
need.
guess the entire plot.
I feel like you need to not be able to do that in order to um, enjoy horror movies to their fullest extent.
Which is why I tend to like the older stuff because they rely more on like spiritual things, I guess.
So you
And
can
also stuff
suspend
that
your
you can take
disbelief
home.
easier. Yep.
Yeah, where it's easier to take home. Especially, for example, I feel like The Ring, most people at least know the plot where it's like, well, if you've seen that tape, like that's it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're
And it's
done.
a random tape. And like at the time, when we're all kids, like everybody had
Everybody
a
can be like, "Oh, I
VHS.
had this, but or I have the tape, bro." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and
Like,
then also like as a kid, it's like two is just like, well, that kid just popped it in there and watched it.
no, literally,
Like it was random and it was static too. So it's like, well, a lot of VHSs at the time like have static, at
they
least in the
just had
beginning or
static.
depending. Yeah, so right away you're suspending that belief as a kid.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
those are very solid things.
I feel like that's why psychological thrillers are way better, because they actually have to build a coherent backstory with
In
actual
order,
context
yeah, to make
instead
you feel the
of
unease.
because you have to have context for the psychological thriller part of the movie to be in effect. Your brain has to start working, like, wait, something ain't right here. So like
Mhm.
you actually have to build a backstory, put in actual context. With horror movies, at least nowadays, it's mostly about just like doing jump scares to like
Yes,
scare
and
the
I will always say that
audience.
because it's like if I'm watching a movie, like, and obviously there's a loud noise, like, yeah, I'll flinch. It's a loud noise directly in
Of
my
course.
ear, but that doesn't mean it's scary. Like, I can sit there still with a blank face and jump at every
No,
stupid loud noise that you project because,
literally.
hello, the TV's at 100. I'm
Thank
Dominican.
you. Like, all right, prime example.
Though I will
When
say, um,
mhm.
what's that movie where it's purposely jump scares, but that's literally because they have to be quiet? Oh, Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That's
That's on
different. No,
purpose.
that's
That's plot
different. That's
relevant.
the way the movie is set up. That's actually
Yeah.
supposed to be that way.
That builds up anticipation, every
I need
loud
to
noise, and
watch
you're
that
like,
movie. Actually, I haven't watched
very
that
good.
movie.
I did finally see it, and it's actually very good. That's
Good.
the perfect example of how you can use jump scares, but it has to be plot relevant.
I feel like what's that movie with the masks? Like they have to wear the masks to to not get killed by the monster. Like because you can't look at it or whatever.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was lame.
I was about to say I forgot what it was called, but like I feel like that movie is just a.
I bought that book way beforehand, and I tried to read it, and I was like, this sucks.
Did it really?
Yeah. So then
But
when I saw it got big, like what was it last year or something like that? I was like, bro, The book is worse.
I want to say it's like bird something, but I'm very sure I'm wrong.
I, Bird Box.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I was right. Hey.
Even
But
worse.
no, like I feel like that I feel like that movie could have been better just because if they
I didn't even
used
see
jump
it.
scares correctly.
I saw a chunk of it, and I was like, "This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in a while." Just saying a lot.
If they used jump scares correctly in that movie, it could have been really, really good. But A Quiet Place is a great example of a movie that does jump scares correctly and for a purpose. It actually has contextual purpose in the movie. With most movies, like the the Conjuring movies nowadays
Oh
and
my
stuff
god, I
like
saw the
that.
first one, and that was one of the worst movies I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
it's like, bro, this.
It's not scary.
I understand. I think the first couple of movies were like actually supposed to be based on like supposedly true stuff.
But you
Um,
know, the thing is like, it's like that's not. If I was a kid watching that, I know I can go home and know that doesn't affect me because
because
it's,
it's not here.
yeah,
It's at
exactly.
some random house in whoever knows what.
Right. It's like, well, I wouldn't bring a stupid doll home because we're Dominican and my mom would never. So I'm
No, right?
safe.
Like my mom would smack me and be like, what is this? You think I'm
That's
about to
purely
bring
white people
something
shit.
into like what are you doing?
Exactly.
As
That's the
someone
caucasity.
who is like afraid of most things all the time, I usually always avoid like scary stuff unless I actually think that I can handle it.
Mm.
But The Conjuring, it's funny you guys say that because I watched that movie, and for a good portion of my life, up until I saw it, I was under the impression that it was like, you know, terrifying. And then I
Oh my
watched it and
goodness.
I was like, what? And I was so confused because I was like, what is scary about this? Like, I thought you guys were being serious.
Thank you.
But then
That's
a
it.
movie like Parasite, that's a psychological thriller. That is the
That
type of movie that
I did
left
finally see
me
that.
like having a hard time
No, you know what?
afterwards.
No, a
Like,
psych thriller that I watched very recent. Well, not recently, but I watched it when it came out. But is recent. Is A Cure for Wellness.
a
See, see, see,
good
see.
horror movie will stick with you for a while.
The I
Like, it'll linger.
Definitely.
the first horror movie franchise that I watched all the way through really set the tone for how I would view horror movies from that point forward. And this is where like my me getting scared by horror movies changed. I watched the Paranormal Activity series. Let me tell you, those movies are quite literally not scary in the slightest, and it is pure funniness. Like it's pure comedy.
It's yeah, it's like like the party. What's that one called?
The parody, scary
No, no,
movie.
no. Yeah, that one is
Oh,
so
scary
good.
movie. Yeah.
I
And it's better than the
I'll be
original, which
honest,
is
I
sad.
literally I watched Scary Movie 4 when I don't even know how old I was. It was like before I was in fourth grade, I
Well,
think.
scary movie's not scary, but like it's fun. It's good.
I
Yeah.
know, and
It's
it's supposed to be literally satire, and
Yeah.
that's the whole point. But watching it at that age, I literally could not sleep in my own room for like 2
Was
months
it because of the
after I
mask?
watched it. Huh?
Was it because of the mask?
It was because of everything, because
Oh my
it did like
goodness.
the Saw stuff, the girl from The Grudge, and so
oh,
many like
I also want to mention the Saw movies suck, and
They
I
do
will die
too.
over
I've
that.
They
never
do.
seen
No, the
them.
Saw movies are bad.
Anything you've seen like in the scary movie like satire stuff is literally how they are. So I couldn't take it serious. For example, if that was me and it was like you gotta saw off your own leg, I'm like, well, I'll just wait.
I'll
Like,
just
quite
die.
honestly, one of us gonna
Uh,
get bored, and it's not gonna get me. It's not gonna be
nah,
me.
it's not gonna be me, bro. I can show here. I have one.
Hmm.
Like, nah, bro, we're good.
You either gonna have to come in here now because I ain't doing that. That's just too much work.
I'm not cutting my own leg off right now.
It's a
It's
lot of work.
ridiculous. Yeah,
It's a lot of work.
like
Okay.
it's not founded in any type of reality. I think that's what I think that's what the problem is, right? And
Hmm.
Mm.
I think for psychological thrillers, they kind of have to be founded in some sort of reality, because that's how the psychological part comes in. Because you're like, wow, what the hell is going on?
Right. And also as kind of a film major, almost a little.
She said
Um
almost.
You more than us.
Right.
that's fair. One of the things that we would talk about when it comes to like horror movies and like scary v- visuals and stuff, like the point of it being scary is supposed to be like in your own head, you know? Like there's aspects of it that you just have to be able to like let the audience imagine on their own. And like that's what's scary about it. You
In
know what
that
I
sense, it's
mean?
like reading a book where
Right. Like
like
it's up to you to
you have
like
to
Because the
interpret, you
yeah,
have to use your imagination to interpret it
which is what
however.
the Quiet Place did. Like, not to
Yeah,
spoil it for anybody, but like when you watch that movie, like you're literally just you dive right into it, and there's not much explaining like why things are the way they are. You just know like there are these people and they have to be silent because obviously this thing is after them.
I might
I
have to
kind
watch
And
of
it
wish
after
I
this.
wasn't as scared of movies like that because I've heard so many good things about it, but I just
it's
don't
not
care.
it's not it's not scary so much, but it definitely fits. Well, I would say thriller. It's not horror, it's thriller.
Mm.
And it's good thriller though. I prefer thriller over horror because at least thriller is supposed to get the blood pumping, but
Yeah,
it's fine if you're not scared. That's not a failure. It's just to be like, "Oh, that was insane," you know.
yeah. I feel like with horror movies, they also try to put they act like jump scares is enough. Like they're like, "Oh, we have 17 jump scares in our movie. That's enough horror," and then they don't do anything with the rest of the plot.
You can say The Conjuring, it's okay.
And also, like, the point of a jump scare is just for it to be, like, quick, and it's gone as soon as it comes, like, it's not gonna stick with you, you know? Like,
Yeah,
most of the time a jump scare happens and I'm like, "What? What was it?" I don't even know, it was just loud and fast.
Right, right.
exactly. A movie that uses jump scares well is all the Halloween movies. Well, I haven't seen the newest ones, but at least the first original ones. They use it well because, like, obviously she's scared in the house because she's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, and then she hears a loud noise because she thinks it's an intruder. That's a good example of a jump scare.
Yeah.
I feel like
It builds anticipation, but nothing actually
the
happened.
the the classic horror movie trope nowadays of like them focusing on like a scary figure in the dark and then just holding the camera on that for like 5 seconds. I don't get it. It's like what is scary about this?
I'm gonna tell you right now,
What's
as
happening?
a woman to begin with, it's just like if I have to see another plot where it's like, oh my god, she thinks she's being followed, and then she completely freaks out. I'm like, do you know how many women have actually experienced that or like have had that feeling? And that is 1000% not accurate. No one is gonna react like that. Absolutely at all. You're gonna be like, I gotta remain calm. What do? I gotta go somewhere and immediately walk into the bodega. So every time I see something like that happening and the movie is taking place during broad daylight, I'm like, girly, I'm walking into the DSW. We both going shoe shopping now.
No, but for real, like go. I don't get it. Man. I don't get it. I just don't get like how most. To be fair, this isn't even specifically with horror movies at this point. This is, I feel like most movies that I watch, the plot holes are just so gaping. Um, I almost said something highly inappropriate.
You
Um,
know, I ain't even gonna say that's the issue now, because if the actors that you got in there get my attention enough, I don't care about them plot holes. I'm thinking about a different place.
see, you know what?
All
You
right.
nasty. Anyways, um, no, but like most of the movies that I watch, it's like, wow, that this doesn't make sense. Why did this happen? Why?
Right.
Why? And
Or
some of
like,
it,
how did this get there?
some
Or
of it,
why are we all now doing this, you
some of it
know?
I can understand as like, okay, you like in the sense of like, why is this happening now? Blah blah blah. Some of it I can be like, okay, I can get that it's a movie and that you kind of have to make stuff happen, right? Um, like for example, in certain movies where it's like, oh, this is happening and this is happening on the same day. It's like, all right, I get what you're doing. I understand why you have to do it because these two things need to be occurring at the same time. You're just doing it in a very bad way, and I need you to stop doing it like this.
Mm,
You know who's the masters of horror? And I say this with hand to God. Japan.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Not only do they
Asia
have a
has
lot of
produced
folklore in
so
general, but
many.
like psych horror from them. It's like,
It's
well, I've
insane.
never been so traumatized in my
No,
life.
literally. I think
It's
that's what
That's
I'm
all.
searching for in a psychological thriller, to be absolutely traumatized so that I can forget my childhood trauma.
I will also say once I started watching foreign films, like for horror or at least psych thrillers, the criteria went up like crazy because they're
Do
so
Yeah.
you
much
have any
better.
suggestion?
Um, this is like I don't want to say it's psych horror, but it's definitely a thriller, gory. I love gore. I'll be the first one. I
That's fine.
love gore.
That's fine.
Um, it's a French film. I think it's still on Netflix called Raw.
Now,
That one's critically
is it
acclaimed.
is there subtitles?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
I
cool.
mean, I don't
Because
know French.
I was about to say I would hope that they wouldn't do a dub.
Oh God, no,
I
I don't watch dub of anything at all.
Okay, thank
Period.
you. I can respect you as a human being now.
Yeah, no. No, absolutely not. Unless I watch it from the ages 5 and down, I'm not watching that dub.
Raw, you said?
Um, yeah, it's called Raw and it's a French film. If you type it in, it should pop up
Yeah,
right away
I
because it
got
is
it.
critically acclaimed.
Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna watch
Good
that movie
film. I
tonight.
loved
had
it.
these mushrooms, bro.
Watch that
Like
movie
right in
Um,
tonight,
front of
please.
me.
I'm trying to think of a different one, but the foreign films in general, that one's obviously European. Um, but I mean, obviously, Parasite got really big, and that's Korean. So it's like these
Yeah.
foreign films. I think also different. The more I will say, hmm, the less a culture has to be varied, the more the horror can build. I'll say
You
it like that.
know, you know, since we're talking about gore as well, I like I I in anime, I like really gory anime.
I did too.
Like
I
I feel like
hesitated.
I'm not into it.
we know you're
I,
Sorry.
not. We know you're not. Like I watched this anime that was it was
what's
about
it called?
a black
Just say what's.
samurai.
Oh, I want to see it. I already know what you're talking
It's
about.
so good.
Is
It's
it?
so good. It's so gory.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Okay, I want to see that. I
Um
want to see that.
no, it's actually really really good and they do the gore perfectly.
I'm trying to think of some
Like
anime
it
that I
could
like.
be they
It's
could do
gore. It's
more, but
delicious.
realistically they probably can't because of ratings.
Yeah. After a while, it's like, well, this won't air.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it would be like if they did more gore. But it's a
I
really
love
good
gore.
anime.
You know, I love gore. I love it. I love to see it. I want to see, and this is gory. Maybe I'll get censored in the edit. But I love to see organs spilling out. I
As
love
do
to
I.
see blood everywhere,
Yes,
torture
sir.
scenes,
What the
um,
heck?
I'm here
any
for all
type
of
of
this.
the weird. I like also like when the murder weapon is like something completely mundane, so it makes it more brutalized. Like all of that, I
I am here
like
for all of
to
this.
see it. I
I'm
love to
definitely
see
gonna
it.
censor all of this, but I'm here for all of it.
Yeah, you can definitely
Wow.
censor me. It's fine. Because every time I mention it, and I'm just like, yeah, I love gore. People are just like, oh yeah, blood splatters or whatever, because that's what you see on TV, because that's all they can
No,
really
no,
air.
no.
And I'm
I'm
like,
interested in more.
but again, like that's why I say Asians and all their stuff, they get gory. I think they have like a little more classified stuff, so they can like show more things in that sense. But I have read especially manga, because then it's like, well, this doesn't even have to be aired. So I have
No,
read some
literally.
really fucked up shit, but they just scratch a certain part of my brain.
I mean, uh, gore for me is not something that I've like discovered that I was interested in until like I was like 18 and I'm mad about it.
Oh, cannot relate.
Like, I don't know. Like when
Giggles.
I was younger, I would just be like, I don't really know. It's kind of weird. And then like, I just, I saw, I saw a video
I don't.
on
You don't have to expose
on
yourself. It's
Twitter.
fine.
I'm just gonna say that, and I was like, whoa,
That's enough
that's
Twitter enough.
cool. And then it just slowly snowballed from there.
And not to sound like a freak to anybody that happens to hear what does get approved. Um, it's just like it's not even to sound like a freak or whatever like that because it's very niche. It's like, well, artistically, I like to see it. I do like to see it in movies too, but like rare, very rare. Um, like Raw is also, like I said, pretty gory. And when I watched that movie, I was like, finally. But anyways,
No, I'll probably say the exact same thing then.
because it's so, and I'm very picky about how artistically something is shot, which is why I like A Cure from Wellness. That visually to me is such a stunning movie that isn't like. There was also one that I ended up seeing on Netflix as well. One of my favorite actors is in it. I'm gonna look it up and tell you what it is. That is definitely psychological. But it's I guess it is a psych thriller, but it's not a psych horror. It's not gory or anything like that. So like like Dizzy might like it as well. But the way it is shot is so pretty. I love things like that.
Oh,
Yeah, very very nice.
I have a fight scene to send you.
Go ahead.
It's not
That's
really
another reason
it's
why
not
I
really
like
gory,
blood.
but it's just a really cool scene.
What is his name?
Um, but I feel like Dizzy,
Yeah.
what attracts you about psychological thrillers?
Not much because I still don't watch them.
I hate you so
You'll
much.
like them though,
Every
because they're
single day.
not
No.
scary. They're just unsettling. They make you
No,
think.
yeah, that's the thing. I think that I am the type of person that is always like in my own head and thus in my own bubble all the time. That when I watch a psychological thriller, it's like, oh wow, I could be thinking of crazier, worse things, you know?
Of course.
I mean, of course.
But I think, uh, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's cool how you can even have people come up with ideas like how they do. Especially because it's a genre that I don't really subscribe to at all. But if I do see one and I'm like, oh, that was good, it's like, wow. Like you can actually tell a story and scare people, you know?
We'll see. I think a really good psychological thriller that I saw is Ma. That movie
What? Which one?
was Ma, M-A.
Mm.
That movie was so good. I saw it with a bunch of friends. It was really, really good because it. Okay, so personally, I couldn't relate to the to how the story started, but like I know a bunch of people realistically that could relate to that, and if you exchange certain things, a good portion of the world can understand like the start of the movie. So it's like, wow, it this easily could happen to anybody. And when you think of it, like when the directors and producers make you think of it like that, I think that makes it a better psychological thriller.
Mm, yeah.
Okay, real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off, but the movie I'm talking about and the actor I'm talking about is Rami Malek in Buster's Malheart. And it's
My
basically about
guy,
this guy that works in a hotel.
Buster,
Buster's Malheart. So Buster, like a name, Mal
Buster,
as an MAL, and then heart as your heart.
Buster, Buster,
But
Buster,
if you search him up, like
Buster.
obviously,
It's a
shut up,
dustard.
shut up. Anyway, very
So
good.
I think that's going to be the end of this recording. Um, I'm glad you are all listening to this far. If you are, appreciate you. Um, don't forget to let us know what your opinions are about any of the topics we talked about in the comments.
And any
And
recommendations.
so you're just gonna cut me off like that? Because I was just about
Yeah,
to
I
say any
am.
recommendations.
I am gonna cut you off because I want to talk too.
Wow, that's crazy. So you can't just
We
wait for your
both have
turn?
been talking for like the past 20 minutes.
Shut up, Dizzy!
It doesn't matter.
If you have any recommendations for anything that we've talked about, also don't feel bad about leaving it in the comments. We are clearly some depraved humans. Send us stuff.
Especially sites and anything with Rami Malik you would like to.
All right. That's enough of you.
Oh no, it's
Um,
Rami Malek, isn't it? I'm sorry. That's rude. Anyhow, because I would eat that man alive.
all right. Okay. All right.
And this is
That's
the
enough.
end. Everybody have a
That's
good
enough.
nice night or day, wherever you are.